Just bring in interesting people. Tammy Bruce, Fox News contributor and president of Independent Women's Voice, and Candace Owens, communications director for Turning Point USA. They were going to be on at different times, and then we're like, just put them on together.
Yes,
way better. So we saw lots of glimpses of the mob, Candace. I'll start with you. Yet they did not win. Why?
Because America's getting really tired of this. It's petulant. It's childish. The idea that we no longer have a due process. You're going to show up, say some allegations, shout, hold a bunch of picket signs, and you're just going to bring America to its knees. No. We have the right president in office, and thankfully we have the right senators to have them stand up and say this no longer works. This country is not ruled by mob justice.
Tammy, I'm still in shock after seeing that video. Are Democrats embarrassed of that kind of weird, robotic, I don't know, groupthink? I mean, repeating things like that.
Well, literally, right, to see it in its face. That's not unusual. That's what's always happened.
But are they embarrassed?
No, because that's what they do. This is what they're used to. So this is literally, I mean, they treat them obviously like they're infants or like you've got to have a little kid repeat what they're doing. But that's a training mechanism when you talk literally about groupthink. And it's like a pledge. And it really eliminates the nature of suggesting independent thought, because that's the problem when you eventually get there. And I think that what Americans saw when they see elements like this, and it's invaluable now, everybody's got the cell phones and we can actually see how this works, is Americans, they saw it in 2016 and the years through Obama, and that they saw it with the Kavanaugh hearings, is that something truly has gone off the rails, that this is something that we must stand up against. And the issue is, though, too, of course, this is only the beginning. And it's important work, right? This is our D-Day. And it's going to be hard. Right. Other Americans and other generations have faced even more dangerous and more hard.
Absolutely.
But this is ours, and we must step up for it.
I want to get your
great analogy.
I want to get your reaction. So, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made it very clear that he is going to not stand for it. Here's McConnell on the protesters.
The mob was not able to intimidate the Senate. We stood up to the mob. We did the right thing for a good man. I filled a lifetime appointment on the Supreme Court. There's a lot to celebrate today. I couldn't be prouder of all of my members.
Your reaction to what will be a historic vote today at 3:30, Candace?
I'm just really excited. I'm so relieved. I think this is an interesting point because at long last we are addressing what I have described as radicalized feminism. This has gotten bad. It's gotten worse. When Hillary ran, we saw it kind of emerging and then it grew rapidly. And it's time to take a stand to it. I'm worried. I don't have any children. I don't have a son, but I do like to think about the world that I am creating for my someday children. And to see it get to this point where you're just saying, believe women, like women have never done anything wrong in the history of the world, is terrifying for me. And to see these senators stand up on a stage and say, we will not allow this. We will not be bullied. We will not be silenced. We are going to stand by a good man. Congratulations to Brett Kavanaugh.
But we've also seen conservative women stand up for men. And I think sometimes it's really hard if you're a man to stand up to this kind of insults. You're so afraid of what they're going to say. It does require women to stand up.
It does, but also for men to know that they're standing up for their daughters also.
That's true.
That they're standing up for the future of the women in their family. And I know men have no problem doing that. So it's a matter of a frame of mind. Don't let the mob control what you think your point of view is about the reality of this situation. By the way, if anybody told me a month ago I'd be praising and standing up for McConnell and Graham and Collins, I would have said you were crazy. Right. But this tells us, and I've got a column at foxnews.com suggesting that maybe it's time for the GOP establishment to put down its fists and to join us and for us to work together to keep America great. Because we've seen what we can do when we work together. Susan Collins has proven that to us. So has McConnell. So is Graham. Isn't it time to now for the establishment to come together and help us move forward?
It was a great column. I read it this morning.
You mentioned Susan Collins. So talking about men standing up to women, Senator Chris Murphy on another channel just took Susan Collins to task, and Judge Kavanaugh, listen to what he had to say.
I have a great amount of respect for Senator Collins, but I just think she is going to be sorely disappointed when a year from now Brett Kavanaugh writes the decision overturning Roe v. Wade. But it's going to be pretty embarrassing when Brett Kavanaugh is the deciding vote to criminalize abortion in this country.
Candace, your thoughts?
Well, I'm from Connecticut, so if you want to talk about embarrassing, we can talk about his leadership in Connecticut as a whole. Connecticut is sinking he's got way bigger fish to fry than Susan Collins. Connecticut is a sinking ship. Our economy is collapsing. It's because it is being led by weak men like him.
Let me tell you, she dismantled every argument like that last night beautifully. She left it on the floor. all of the hysteria that Kavanaugh was going to be some kind of nuclear ideological bomb. She obliterated those arguments, and yet he falls right back into that. The fact is, the reason the American people are shocked at this is because they've seen that they were right in 2016. They saw all the predictions about Trump were lies and did not happen. They're seeing this as false. It is a false reality. Many people on the left have been used to being able to recreate our reality for us, kind of gaslighting the American people. We've been able to overcome that. We'll do it again.
And gaslighting is the right word.
You're right. But also, when she laid it out, it was a reminder also to some, very conservative people like myself that, this Brett Kavanaugh wasn't exactly our first pick for the Supreme Court. He was the establishment pick. He was Donald Trump's pick. But the abortion debate is not a cut and dry with Kavanaugh. He's a constitutionalist. That's why.
But even when you talk about gaslighting the American people, even bringing up the abortion debate, this is exactly the tactics they use time and time again. And when you said this is what we went through with the election of Donald Trump,
when I started my activism decades ago, it was on that issue. And this is now the 21st century. American women have different options. We are more in control of our lives. We have agency. This argument continues to place us in the position as infants and as powerless. We are not, whether you are liberal or conservative, this is a nonpartisan issue. We must be able to maintain control of our lives. And all of this argument, putting us as victims perpetually on this one issue, continues now to be false as we move into the future.
Tammy Bruce, Candace Owens, thank you. Pete was right. You are a good teammate.
This is like the most empowering segment.
It's a big day. This is D-Day.
It is a big day.
It's D-Day. It begins.
But I thought you were talking about November is D-Day too. November is D-Day.
It's a battle in this Reformation. All of these are battles.
Defend our men, confirm Brett Kavanaugh. That's all I have to say.
Candace, Tammy,